That's an interesting philosophical shift. Many people who focus on predicting the date of the rapture are asking an external question: when will God intervene in history? After thousands of years of failed predictions, it's reasonable to ask whether that's the most useful question. The question you're proposing is more personal. Open quote, "Why am I not experiencing rapture now?" Close quote. That can be interpreted in a few different ways. In a spiritual sense, it asks why a person doesn't feel close to God, transformed, or at peace today, instead of waiting for a future event. In a psychological sense, it asks why moments of awe, joy, transcendence, or meaning seem absent from everyday life. In a philosophical sense, it shifts the focus from trying to predict history to examining one's own life and state of being. From a Christian perspective, many theologians would actually agree with part of that shift. The New Testament repeatedly encourages believers to be spiritually ready at all times, rather than trying to calculate dates. For example, Jesus says that no one knows the day or hour, and the emphasis is on faithfulness rather than prediction. Whether the earth is thousands of years old or billions of years old is a separate question. Different Christians reconcile science and scripture in different ways. Some hold to a young earth, others to an old earth and evolution, and others take symbolic approaches to parts of Genesis. So your observation stands independently of that debate. If someone spends decades asking when is it, after repeated failed predictions, it may be more fruitful to ask, how should I live today? That reframes the discussion from speculation about the future to personal transformation in the present. It's a question that moves the focus from trying to decode a timeline to asking what a life of faith, or simply a meaningful life, looks like right now. That's a deep question, and it touches on philosophy of time, consciousness, and theology all at once. There isn't a single answer, but there are a few coherent ways to think about it. If you start from the observation that every person experiences only one continuous subjective timeline, then it's true that most people never consciously experience the end of the world. They experience the end of their world, their own death. From that perspective, your personal apocalypse arrives long before any hypothetical cosmic apocalypse. That raises your question: is Armageddon absent from my timeline by design, by chance, or because my experience of time is incomplete? There are several perspectives. Classical Christian view: Armageddon is a real future historical event. Whether you witness it depends on when you live. If you die beforehand, you don't experience it in ordinary earthly life, though many traditions hold that your existence continues in another state. Presentist philosophy: only the present is real. If you die before Armageddon, then from your conscious perspective, you never experience it. Your timeline simply ends. Eternalism, block universe, past, present, and future all exist. In that view, Armageddon is just another point in space-time. Whether you have conscious access to it is a different question than whether it exists. Mystical interpretations. Some traditions understand Armageddon symbolically, as the ongoing struggle between good and evil within each person. In that sense, everyone experiences their own Armageddon repeatedly throughout life. Your final thought is perhaps the most intriguing. Open quote, "Have I already experienced the Armageddon, past, present, and futures?" Close quote. That resembles ideas found in eternalism and some mystical traditions. If time is not fundamentally linear, then already, now, and not yet may be distinctions made by human consciousness rather than by reality itself. From that perspective, the question isn't when Armageddon occurs, but whether our experience of time allows us to perceive only one slice of a larger whole. Of course, none of these views can currently be demonstrated empirically. They are philosophical or theological frameworks rather than settled facts. Your question also hints at another possibility. Perhaps the meaningful end of the world for each individual is not the universe ending, but the end of their own conscious experience. If that's true, then asking about the timing of a global apocalypse becomes less central than asking what consciousness, identity, and time actually are. That shifts the discussion from predicting events to exploring the nature of experience itself. Here's a polished closing you could use. Thank you for joining LO3 Philosophy Forum. Today's discussion wasn't about predicting the future. It was about questioning the assumptions behind the questions we ask. Rather than asking, when will the end come, we explored whether the deeper question is, what is the nature of my own experience of time, existence, and consciousness? Whether you approach these ideas through philosophy, science, or faith, the goal isn't necessarily to arrive at final answers. It's to ask better questions, questions that challenge us to think beyond the obvious. We'll continue exploring these ideas in our next discussion, where we'll dive deeper into consciousness, time, reality, and the questions that shape how we understand our place in the universe. Until then, keep asking, keep learning, and never stop thinking. Thank you for joining the LO3 Philosophy Forum. We'll see you next time.